So hi, how is everybody? Hello. Hello. Hi, Lisa. It's so funny because you think that you know everybody in this town, and then you go to new events and you think, oh, wait a minute. I'm not as popular as I thought I was, maybe. So my name is Megan McCann, and I'm a business strategy coach. And I have a dirty secret to share. I'm not just a yoga instructor. So everybody in this town thinks that all I do is teach yoga and that I'm a full-time parent, which I am. And my daughter, for the longest time, thought, oh, daddy's the only one who works. And mommy, you don't work. You just stay at home all day long. And that was how I raised my daughters, was above and beyond everything else. The money, the business is the lifestyle that it has been able to provide me. And I knew when I started my business that no matter what, that I would be a present parent, that I wouldn't miss out on all of the milestones, and that I would get to live and design the lifestyle of my dreams. And I'll get a little bit more into my story in just a little bit, but again, it's so funny. It's just like now, after being an entrepreneur for 10 years, and people still have no idea what the fuck I do. They have no idea. They think, oh, I teach yoga, or and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the cool thing is, again, to be able to design a lifestyle where you're only working a few hours a day, but the impact that you make is profound. And so if I leave you with anything, is to really have the tools to design the lifestyle of your dreams. So are you guys in? Yeah? Just a little bit? But before we start, I would love to get a gauge of the room just so I know who I'm talking to. So how many of you are working with a client or customer base? Raise your hand. Okay, so almost everybody in the room. Awesome. So for those of you that didn't raise your hand, would you mind sharing what you do? Even if it's just an idea.
I do nothing. But I did a lot. I worked in Silicon Valley.
You're here for a reason, so
okay.
Maybe that might change. We'll see. Who else? Come on, guys. It's gonna be interactive. That's how we learn. No? Yes.
I don't have a specific customer base. I kind of do, but I'm doing mobile workshops, like DIY workshops. A lot of times it's signs, or design elements for your house, or something like that. So yes, I have a customer base, but I don't have like a specific group that I'm always working with.
Got it. Awesome. And so you're an artist. You design. Yeah. Again, today, hopefully you'll find more clarity in the service that you provide and how you can make that impact. So if we can move to the next slide. So my intention for you today is you leave here with at least one new source of, and I have passive because it's my favorite source of income, that you're going to take on in your business today. How many of you have a source of passive income? How many of you know what passive income is? Okay. So it's money where you do the work once and it keeps paying you over and over and over again. Royalties. So what are some sources of passive income that you guys know out there? It's just the stigma.
Alimony.
Yes, that's so funny because as much as I've been teaching passive income, I've never heard that. I love it. What else? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so authors receive passive income or royalties. You look at actors as well, and people in the entertainment industry where they build a project once and then it keeps paying over and over and over. Every time somebody buys your book, every time somebody watches the film, that's passive income. Well, surprise, you can create passive income in your business. And we're gonna dive into that today. So if we can hand out the sheets, we're going to fill that out. So let's go to the next slide as well. my other intention is for you to be able to free up your time in your calendar. You spend it doing the things that you love. I mean, what a beautiful place that we get to live in. And to not be able to experience that. I just remember living in California. So I'm from Santa Barbara, and I lived in Southern California my entire life up until 4 years ago when I moved here. And I remember going to corporate when I worked my corporate job and working the 8 to 5. And especially in the winter, I would go to work when it was dark and I would leave when it was dark, and I felt like life was passing me by. So another intention I have for you is to free up time in your calendar and leverage and streamline your business so that you have opportunity to do the things that you love. The next slide, please. So my request for you is that you stay open and think outside of the box. That really is the theme for today. We live in a world where you can create anything you want out of nothing. The amount of stuff that I've pulled out of my butt and made it great is pretty remarkable. And it's because we live in America. We have all of these tools. We live in the tech world where we can reach the masses, but not even have to leave our home. We can impact people. I have clients all over the world. And if that wouldn't have been possible 20, 30 years ago. So this really is the best time to be an entrepreneur and to reach the masses and make a massive impact. So that is my request for you, is that you think outside of the box, not traditional, not what traditionally what you would think you would make income from. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so a little bit about me. That is my family.
They're so sweet.
Sometimes. That is my amazing family. That is my why. Most of you know my husband Luke, who is a realtor in town, and my 2 little girls, and a musician, and so many things. And that is my 6-year-old Michaela right there. And, so I have been a serial entrepreneur for 10 years. And it's so funny because when I met Emmy, I was in the transition phase. To take my story back a couple of decades. So I went to UC Santa Barbara. I graduated in 2005. I started working corporate, and it was like the walk of shame every 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. It was not the type of walk of shame that, college you would think of, but it was just, I worked for a shoe corporation. So I was in the marketing and PR department. And I would just remember walking into my tiny little cubicle thinking, is this it? Is this what I was meant to do? And just feeling so undervalued, feeling like I wasn't making the impact that I desired. Sometimes you come out of college, and I was involved in a lot of different college organizations, and I felt so powerful. And then it was such a huge contrast from feeling so powerful. I was a Division I athlete. I was in a sorority. I was on the board. I did all this philanthropy. To all of a sudden feeling like I was nothing and I could be replaced. So I did a lot of self-searching, and I wanted to make an impact, but I wasn't sure how. I knew that I loved sports and nutrition, so I got certified to become a personal trainer. When I wasn't making money, hi, Darlene. Hi. Everybody look at Ashley. And I thought, okay, personal trainers can make really good money because you can charge people $100 an hour. And while it was fun and I loved it, what I didn't love was getting up at 6 a.m. and trading my time for money. If I wanted to go on vacation, I wasn't going to be paid. And so I thought, okay, more education means more power, right? I went back to school. I got my master's degree in counseling because I was like a counselor for all of my clients. They would tell me their life stories, and I knew more about them than their spouses did. It was amazing. But so I graduated. I went to USC, and the first day they said, I guarantee you will have a job before you graduate. And I'm like, cool, I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna make an impact. And within that 2-year span, the recession hit. And California laid off 30,000 teachers and counselors. And so I went from being guaranteed a job to 6 months of looking and applying to hundreds and hundreds of schools to be not even have my resume looked at. And I just thought, oh my God, I'm back here again. I'm back here again. I was fed up. I was so sick of other people deciding my worth. And I knew that I was meant for more. So I met a friend and I started working as a health coach, as personal training health coach. I worked with a nutrition company. I had no idea what the flip I was doing, but I had a burning desire for more. And it was almost like ignorance on fire. Like I had a little bit of strategy, but I had no idea what I was doing. I was just so, they say you either achieve success from desperation or inspiration, sometimes both. It was pure desperation. I had no other choice. I was 6 figures in student loan debt, going into my second and third credit card, no source of income. And so ignorance on fire. I had an amazing mentor, and within 2 years, I built my business to 6 figures. And my business, the sales was generating between $1 to $2 million a year, just off of pure hustle and desperation. So that was my first business, and certified in yoga meditation, you know that. I earned my way to the top 2% of that company, and I think we can move on to the next slide. You guys don't need to know the whole story. we want to get into it.
That wasn't a pyramid scheme.
Well, define pyramid scheme.
Well, I think I'm on it. It's when you multi-level marketing.
So there's a difference. So multi-level pyramid scheme means there's not a product, and you're scheming people.
So what do you call it?
It's direct sales. It's multi-level marketing. So I got paid based on empowering and teaching people how to build a business successfully. And we opened studios. We had the largest workout in Los Angeles. There were 400 people who would show up on the beach until we got kicked out. So when I met you, we were duplicating that same workout, and we just started with 6 people. It was 6 people, and then they felt so aligned with our mission and the results and the value that we gave to people that they kept inviting people, and then it was just like a ripple effect of impact. So this is the timeline of the past 10 years. So I graduated personal training, built my business, hit my first $10,000 month in 6-figure year, opened a studio, got married, and had our first daughter in a year.
This is
Santa Barbara. Burnt out, moved to Idaho, and income dropped 50%. Overnight, pretty much. Yeah. So I was flying, oh my God, I'm going to be a millionaire, and I'm just going to be able to do whatever I want, take time off, never work again. And boy, was I wrong. My income dropped in half overnight. We had to move back in with the parents while having a baby. And it was the first time in my life, or not the first time, it was the first time after being an entrepreneur where I started second guessing myself and second guessing my impact and my worth. And do I deserve this? Am I worth it? Do people want my service? So there was a lot of self-searching through that. And within a few years, I went back to what do I love to do? What lights me up? What makes me fun? And I launched McCann Coaching because I knew that I loved helping entrepreneurs build successful businesses. That's what I'm good at. So I started that. I hired business mentors, and I created multiple sources of revenue. So I'm going to dive into all of this. And today, $10 to $20 a month in 3 sources of business revenue. So how many of you, the business looks kind of like this? It's like up and down and up and down and up and down. Okay, hopefully everybody's raising your hand. It's never a straight line up, right? But we can move on to the next slide. So this is what my annual business income, I'm all about transparency, so look at my records here. This is kind of the trend, is you start to see a hike in your revenue, something happens, there's struggle, and it decreases. And I truly believe those are the most important, most essential moments in business, is low moments, because that's where you build that grit. That I've learned my biggest lessons when I've had my lowest years, when I had to move back in with the parents when I'm trying to figure out how to feed my kids. That's where I grew. And so since then, income has gone up, and this, just after analyzing this quarter, it's going to be my best year ever. I work 1 to 5 hours a day. So,
But you also sometimes do
yoga.
seminars. Seminars. Weekend seminars.
Yeah.
That's not 2 or 3 hours. That's a whole weekend, 2 weekends in a row, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying, that's the reality.
Yeah, totally. So next slide, please. So what I want to get into first are, what are some limiting beliefs that you guys have around money? And we're going to write this down because money mindset is huge. And so in order for us to take on the strategy and the systems, we have to make sure that our mindset is in the right place. So some limiting beliefs that I have is I was raised that money is the root of all evil. Anybody heard that? Right? Takes a lot of money to make money. Rich people are selfish. What are some other ones you guys have heard? Yes. Is that Pete any? No money, but it's more money. More money, more problems. Just icky feeling like
if you have it, then you don't have it.
Yeah. And for me, it was like I can't hold on to it. I have to repel it, or it's going to eat me alive, type thing. And I love this quote by Abraham Hicks. If you guys listen to Abraham Hicks, what you are living is evidence of what you are thinking and feeling every single time. We can move on to the next slide. Okay, so getting into the mission. And sometimes I do hour-long courses just on mission. I truly believe that mission solves all problems. Anytime I find myself in a crossroads or I feel like I have a tough decision to make, I go back to my mission. So what I would like you guys to consider is, what do you stand for? What are you taking a stand for? And so for me, I'm taking a stand for entrepreneurs, for people to be able to build and dream whatever they want to. How many of you know your mission? And I thought you didn't have a business.
I don't get money.
Got it.
My mission is to bring people in school.
I love that. I love that. Beautiful.
I do it all day long.
I love it. I saw some hands in the back. If you speak it out, you're attracting it.
That's what we'll do.
Mm-hmm.
I stand for kids and teens.
Awesome. Love.
Just getting better from wherever you are.
Getting better? What does that mean?
Better every day, it can be financially, it can be spiritually, physically. Increasing yourself, growing a little bit every day or every month.
So if I love that. Thank you. If I don't know you and I'm sitting here and I want to know how you can help me, how would you guys define it? So it's something, because I think sometimes I know for me, when I first started in health and wellness, I wanted to help anybody and everybody, and I wanted to help people get healthy. And that was my mission, is to help people get healthy. So at the same time, I wasn't super definitive in the ideal person that I wanted to help, that they didn't know how to find. They didn't know what services I provide. So as you build your mission statement and what you stand for, you want it to be at the point where people are like, oh my God, it's so freaky that she's talking to me. How does she know me? Has she been going into my Facebook? That's what you want to provide people, is that freaky moment where they're like, she's talking right to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So, and if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.
Is that Anne Alexander Hamilton as in the government of the United States?
I got it. Yes. Yeah. I got it online, so that's what I'm going for. Next one, please. Okay, so here is the sad reality today. More than 70% of the population are dissatisfied with their work. They either hate what they do, or they are working so hard they can't enjoy it. So my mission is to show entrepreneurs how to create more income with less effort so they can actually enjoy life and be present. You guys in for that? Yeah? Okay. We got one person. That's cool. 2. Linda? 3. Okay. Awesome. 4. Yeah, Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one. And I'll just tell you a story. So I had, and this is what Lisa was talking about, the past 2 weekends I put on 2 very large scale events in Santa Barbara called the Soul Success Summit. I had over 150 people, 15 people attend. It started just a thought one day. I thought I wanted to run a yoga retreat for business owners, blending both sides of my genius, what I love to do. And at first, I got up with I teamed up with my business coach at the time, and I was like, you're going to teach systems and tech and automation, and I'm going to do yoga and mindset and personal development and talk about purpose and mission. And so we marketed it, and nobody flipping cared. We didn't get one person signing up for months. And I thought, okay, let's go back here, because I was bought in. I knew that there was something here golden, but at that point, there was something that was missing. And so I went back to the mission. I'm like, okay, Lisa, what's our mission? Okay, our mission is to elevate women entrepreneurs, show them that they're no longer alone in their business, show them they can rise together, sharing stories, connecting. And so once we got so clear on that, I was like, okay, how do we align with it? Let's start hiring speakers. Let's have speakers come and share their stories. So we started interviewing speakers. We had hundreds of applicants from all over the world. And after that, it started, the traction started coming, and all of a sudden everybody was asking about social summit. And so I tell you this because when we weren't clear on our mission, nobody cared. We weren't speaking to anybody. Why would they want to come to the McCann and Lisa show? But when we started enrolling people in our mission, then it started catching like wildfire. And we had, the past 2 weekends, we had people flying in from Romania, from Canada, from Vienna, from all of these beautiful countries. They paid to be there, and they made the effort to be there because they were so aligned in mission. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I want you guys to do right now is take some time. How many hours a day are you currently working in your business? Too many. Too many.
Now, can we define, I have a question.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
everything you are, your business gives to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's you.
Yeah.
So everything, when I go to the gym or go to the spa, I rest my brain to function at what I do. So you're
I'm sorry, what's your name again? Because I didn't
Val.
Val. And then what do you do?
I invest real estate.
Awesome.
And so this is more for business, what you asking me to do, just to make money, not personal decision. What was your question?
In your business.
Yeah.
In your business. Yeah. So, sometimes it is hard to define because I know for me, lunch days, that's a lot of how I build client base is I connect with people. But working hours, how many hours a day? And it could be just a rough call. How much money are you currently making? What is your income goal this year? So write down both monthly and annual. How much more do you need to make to hit your income goal? So the difference between what you're making now and what your income goal is this year. And then the last one is how many hours a day do you want to work? You can't hit a target that you can't see.
Let me just interject and say that time is money, and some of us work for no income, and some of us donate our time and volunteer for that, which isn't necessarily me in this case, but not everyone works for me. Even if they are not, or they don't necessarily work for income, that time is just something
Not all
to
the
consider.
time. That's what we're going to get into today.
There are hundreds of nonprofits in my volunteer you working with. I don't think so.
So can I ask you? Can I ask
We're
you?
talking about
Can I ask you why are you here today? You
I'm
came here.
here to get to know you.
All right, I'm here.
I'm here to propose.
I just wanted to answer because I did nonprofit when I was 25. And I did it, and it's all great and dandy, but everyone was trying to set money out of everyone, and I got angry. So but my personal opinion is to be in alignment with me. I don't listen to music, but I think money for me is my flavor. I like money like it's of music. You have to like it flavor, like a color.
Yes.
I like green and purple, I like money. So if you like to give and not get money, then you're in alignment if you're a nonprofit. There's not much financial, that's only should be 10-20% if you're into the mood to make money. You can't give it 80% of the time and then you're depleted and have bills to pay.
Absolutely.
So it's in alignment with what your goal is.
Well, and I'm gonna be real with you. I had a nonprofit for a long time. It meant me making an impact, not making any money. Okay? Very little impact. If you want to make a big impact, and one of my mentors, Shelley Hunt, she's the founder of Change. Her impact is profound, and she told me, she was like, Megan, if you want to be a nonprofit and make an impact and go into schools, you've got to have a for-profit attached to it, because I don't care how big your hurt is. If you don't have money to help people, how are you going to help people? And so that for me is like, it really does, like, and for me, I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to have the lifestyle. I'm all about helping people. And let's get real, I want to make a lot of money. I do, because I know that the more financial freedom I have, that equates to time freedom. That equates to, no worries, you're good. I'm like, I thought it was coming from this feeling. I'm like, where is it coming from?
Forgive me, I had to interject that whole piece of this community, because so many businesses are not.
Yeah. And I would love to see those nonprofits get more money so they can impact more people. Cool. So did we get all of those down? Okay. So clarity, what impact are you making? This chair is so squeaky. What service do you provide?
That's such a hard question.
Okay. So, Casey, let's do a little hot seat. Are you guys open to like some hot seat time tonight? Is that helpful? Okay. So tell us what you do.
I am in marketing and
Okay.
I work with businesses and solo entrepreneurs, primarily wellness and travel businesses.
And what is your mission?
My mission is to provide smart marketing for mission-driven business entrepreneurs.
This is one thing, just for the sake of time, I didn't get into, but it's called a mission moment. And it's a moment in time, we all have a moment in time that led us to where we're at today. For me, I have a very long story about, again, I'm not going to get into it today, but that moment, those moments in time where I felt so threatened by women being successful, I felt bullied, even though they probably weren't trying to bully me. It was like competition. Like I grew up as an athlete and like wanting to get the best grades, and when I didn't, I would value my self-worth to the amount of stars that I got on the board in the classroom, or if I made the starting position on the softball and the volleyball team. And I was threatened by women, and it created this very toxic energy. And there were moments that I can define that created I call it untruth story that held me back. And so my mission is to serve entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, showing them that they can have more time freedom as a parents, to show them collaboration versus competition. That's my mission. And my mission moment started way back in the 3rd grade. I can pinpoint the exact time. And so for you guys, I would like you to consider, like, what was your mission moment? What led you to where you're at today? Because when you talk about it, you're going to attract people who are aligned and who are like, oh my God, that happened to me too. I want to hear more about what you do. So going back to you, why PR and marketing? Why do you want to help these business owners become visible and standing out there?
I just love marketing and PR and writing. It's just always been recognized. Really strong writer, so we like that. It's also how my brain works. I just get it, and I work with a lot of people who don't really get it, and so I like to educate people the best way to implement. And whether that's I'm working with you or helping you, or I'm teaching you to do it on your own, because if you know how to market this way, then you know that's me.
I love that. Did you guys feel like connected with that? Awesome. So going back to the impact, how are you impacting these people? What's going to change for them once they start working with you?
Okay. They will have a better understanding of just what marketing is in general, and then also have some kind of strategy around the marketing and what marketing channels they're using. So we developing messaging for them, some kind of schedule and consistency so that they see what gets, so they're not just pulling from thin air.
How do you attach to the emotion behind what you do?
How do I attach? Like, you mean
In a good way. Well, in a good way. Because you're providing a transformation.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I love to watch, yes, from the beginning to the end of where, because it's usually some 3-6 months a year where you started and where you are now. And that is exciting for me to see everything we've accomplished and where that person is at.
You guys have any thoughts? Because this is like a mastermind. Like we're all.
I'm looking for. I know it's an open discussion, so that's why give me a word besides exciting to describe your passion. That would be very helpful in your life. What you do. You don't even get it to the now.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it's just to get you thinking. It's not that you guys don't have to come up with the right answer. It sometimes takes lifetimes to come up with the right, like how do you package what you do? Mm-hmm. It's what we were talking about before this talk is the stories, the experience, the emotion. That's what's going to connect people to your transformation. So how do you get to the pain point of your customers? That is huge. So the pain point of my customers is they don't have enough time to spend with their family or their kids. They feel undervalued, underappreciated. How do you get to that pain point? And yeah, you're gonna say something. And what's your name?
Aliki.
Aliki. Oh, beautiful.
I'm having like a hard time, and I have been for a long time, not just today, but with the mission statement. I want to say I'm super selfish, but it's like I want to do like what I love doing and sell that to people. And that's
And what do you do?
I paint, I write, do other creative good, that's really what
Yeah.
market myself and sell myself.
So
I kind of like I've worked and given like 150% of my whole life to everybody else. Doing that, and now I just want to do what I want to do, and but still be able to live and generate that. But I got like the whole mission thing, and I see the value in it, but I can't seem to figure out how to see what value I have to the people.
Well, and other people are selfish. Everybody's selfish. And again, that's what Casey and I were talking about before. When I send out my emails, I don't send newsletters ever because I don't open newsletters.
Right.
I don't care about people's schedule for the week. Other people, I just don't. I'm selfish, and we all are.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how you're going to solve my pain, whatever I'm struggling with. So when you look at it, you can be selfish with what you do, but you got to understand that other people are selfish too. So in order for you guys to meet, you've got to speak to them, and you've got to speak to their pain point. What are they going through? Who are they connected with? What are they struggling with? What are their obstacles? What are the recent events that have come up for them?
It's hard for me to see with like how does it apply to.
So how do you, is it healing? Is it therapeutic, your art?
Well,
I think it is.
I mean, it should be like enjoyable class. Or looking different or.
Do you think that the people who purchase your art feel the same way when they receive, because you're putting energy out there and they're receiving it? It's energy transfer. So do you feel like it's therapy for them to see you created something out of nothing?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, in a reverse situation, I bought something like this art that's well, I would paint it because it makes me feel it.
Yeah, and so I would love for you to just tap more into that and why art is important to you. If you were to go to an art gallery and you were to pick, oh my gosh, that's the one.
Right.
Why would you pick that? What questions would you be asking? How would you be feeling? What thoughts would come up? And just really put yourself in your dream client's customer's shoes. What are they going through? What's their journey? What are their emotions? And why would they pause to be like, yes, that one? Yeah. If you don't mind, just because we have a lot of slides, we need to move on. One more thing. Is it quick?
I was just gonna say, I was really happy to hear. Tell me your name.
Aliki.
Because I am like in the same place. I'm a scientist, I'm a water expert, I get sound out all day long, I'm also an artist, I'm like, and a writer, and like, that's a really, and my art does feel very therapeutic, anyway, so I have that kind of take on my art, it's really helpful. Big bold white, I'm still struggling with the messaging or how to sell it. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I look at sales as, because we think of sales as like this dirty word, like, oh, I hate sales, right? I look at it as impact. How do you impact people through your service?
So maybe it's more of like just changing your language. So instead of using like sales, you say like this impact. I don't know what.
I feel
So
so
you're
passionate
saying-
about what I have to offer that like I know it might need it.
Right, but you provide like a human service,
Yeah.
basically.
But it can be the same.
But don't undervalue what you do.
Yeah.
You gotta own it. You're making an impact on people. I mean it. And that's what you've got to believe when you have your service. If you believe so much in the service that you provide, this is true. For me, because I always, like, sales always made me really uncomfortable. But going back to the mission, when I got so in line with my mission, I couldn't wait to tell people about my services. I really I get so excited when I'm launching a new program because I know that I'm touching lives, those that are ready to receive it. Those who aren't ready to receive it, they can say no, and I move on to the next. There are so many people who need our services, and we get so locked into going back to the money mindset, the limiting beliefs. There aren't enough people. We're not worthy of transformation. We undervalue our self-worth. And that's why we have a hard time making business decisions, is because we're so caught in the old story and our untruth. But when you're so aligned with your mission, the service that you provide, how you impact people, then you're so excited to talk about it that it doesn't matter. It doesn't feel salesy anymore.
Keyword soul purpose.
Yeah.
If you align with your soul purpose is all I was going to say, because I went to the presentation with Ryan Redmond, who was a yoga teacher, and a financial guy who is Mark George of his capital company, and the two of them partnered to do what you're doing here. And I have to say it, you have to get to what is your first nature, what is your soul purpose. If you communicate that appropriately, you can influence your customer. End of story, that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
And I know you already said this, but I know how many slides you have, so
Yeah.
for time, do you want to,
Let's keep moving.
and not you to say, but like everybody to go to us.
Yeah. And I think if we can move through this, we'll leave more of the in-depth questions for the end. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so client pathways. So I'm going to talk about, this is what I take my clients through. I've chunked it down into 3 different offerings. So we're going to get into the passive versus the active income. So the phase 1 offering is free to low commitment. So who's ever heard of the term freebie? Freebie, free download. Okay, awesome. The second one is a medium commitment and price. And the third is a high commitment and or price. So sometimes they move perfectly through, and sometimes they start with a phase 1, they're at phase 1 for a year, then they're bought in and they go to your high level offering. So I'm going to go through each of these because this is really important. So I would take amazing notes. I'm going to go to the first slide. So the phase 1 is the easy to say, hell yes. Low commitment, it's free, so it's complete value. And this for me is my best stuff. Some of my best stuff I put in a free offering for people, for them to understand, do they want to work with me? Do they like my messaging? Do they feel aligned with my mission? So different ways that I personally, and I've taught my clients to offer a freebie. This can be in the form of a download. So it could be of templates. I think I have that down. Do you have templates? Yes, templates. So is anybody here in legal or medical? And what do you do?
I help type 1 diabetics.
Okay, oh, beautiful. And you? Chiropractic, right. So I know a lot. So for chiropractic, you can have a free download for, I don't know, the perfect posture or something like that. You have it available for someone to opt in, and they gain value over all of the knowledge. Another, and I say legal because I work with a lot of lawyers who have templates for them. Okay, these are the first 3 steps you need to take as an entrepreneur to perfect your business and to empower yourself in your business. The templates are really popular. Ebooks. Does anybody have an ebook? And what's your ebook?
It's my book, but it's also
Online. Awesome. Is it available for free, or is that a price? A price. And did you say you had a book?
I have a physical book.
Okay.
Although I have a downloadable book.
So how many of you know something that a lot of other people don't know? Look at everybody in this room. You could go into Canva, which I'll talk about in a bit, put together, did you use Canva even for this? Yeah, Canva is amazing. It's super user-friendly. I've thrown together ebooks in less than an hour and sold it for $50 and just have it reoccurring. So that's another option. Doing free challenges. I love challenges. Starting my business in health and wellness industry, I used to do free 21-day, 5-day challenges to lose weight, get in the best shape. But you can also do this. I also do this with business. I do money mindset challenges. I do get your next big client challenges, that type of thing. Doing free master classes. So I have Emmy recording this. I'm all about repurposing your content. So I'm recording this, and I haven't decided yet if it's going to be a free masterclass or a paid masterclass. I haven't really put strategy into it yet. But you create content once, you provide value, and you can repurpose it over and over and over again. Listening to a podcast, YouTube, or Facebook Live. I have masterclass twice. Going to a free live event such as this. This is a freebie. Or join a Facebook group. I love Facebook. Okay, so next one. Phase 2 offering. So this is middle commitment. It can be group programs under $1,000. So maybe you have a, like Casey, for you, you could do, you were talking about like scaling prices and how there are a lot of people out there who aren't ready yet for your high level package where they get all of you. What if you had a group program that was a couple of classes and then you leverage all of these entrepreneurs? These are the basics of PR. So that's just the thought. A product under $1,000, an ebook under $100, doing a free sales call. So I actually have this as level 2 because it takes more commitment than just an easy click. Does that make sense? It takes time and effort. A paid challenge under $100, a masterclass under $100. So again, this is more effort and thought into a yes. They're not just like, okay, it's free, it's low commitment. They actually have to, there's something on the line for them. They have to put the effort there. Okay, so phase 3. So phase 3 I love. So phase 3 is like 1 to 3% of your followers, your email followers, your audience, whatever you want to call it. This is not going to be most people you connect with because it's such a high level of commitment. It's a higher price. And so for a lot of times, like I'll just give you an example. My current business coach, I just like loved all of her free stuff. I think I saw her on an ad, to be honest with you. And I was like, oh my God, she seems amazing. And I joined her free Facebook group. She does free weekly classes within her Facebook group. And I just loved, I felt so connected to her story, her mission. She's goofy. She just like, we had a lot going on before I even met her. We were in a relationship. She didn't know it. I was obsessed with her because I felt so aligned. And after a year, she had a live event. I traveled to New York. I met her, and I didn't care what she had to offer. I knew she was going to pitch something, and I was like, I'm already a yes. It doesn't matter how much. It was like triple than I thought, and I was done. The decision was already made. It didn't matter. So, but I'm the 1 to 3%. Most of her people are just going to stay in the free. Some are going to go to the level 2 where they do like a group coaching program or a paid master class, or they buy some of her trainings and they'll stick with level 2. And some will go through the entire pathway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So high-end one-on-one coaching. So for me, I have a handful of clients that I work with at one time, and it's a high ticket price. And this is active, it's not passive income, it's active income. It's very active because I love to get my hands into people's business and show them how to make more money. But again, like most of my subscribers aren't ready for this, but it has to be a high ticket price. So over $1,000, I say at least 5, but again, everybody's business is different. I coach my clients to get to the $5,000 mark. And a lot of it is like going back to the money mindset, like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of money. Well, it is a lot of money. And again, we were talking about this before, is when people are, okay, so before I used to offer my services for basically free. I wanted to help everybody. I wanted to make a big impact. Funny enough, not very of my clients were getting results. I wonder why. You guys guess? Yeah, they weren't ready. They weren't ready to take the plunge. The minute that somebody makes that investment in you and believes in you, you better bet they're going to work their ass off. right? Or even with a painting. You have a painting for $10,000, you're going to put so much more into that, and they're going to value that artwork so much more. It's going to be front and center in their living room, as opposed to, oh, I just paid $100 for the garage or something like that. You know what I mean? Or not that $100 is a lot, but I'm just saying contrast, right?
$1,000 painting that is.
Yeah. I mean, I love antiques. They're my favorite works of art I like got for free.
Maybe those YouTube.
Do you guys have any questions?
Can you go back to the second one?
Yeah. So phase 2 is middle commitment, middle price. And again, I have sales call because that's higher commitment, but it's free, so it kind of equals out, right?
I have a question, Megan.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a similar boat as Casey. We're both PR and marketing folks, and I'm at like a certain range right now that I charge my clients. And I know that I can be making way more because I literally had someone walk out of a meeting with me because I was charging so much less. So like, oh, you're not $200 an hour? I was like, you were going to pay me $200 an hour? Like, how do I make that jump? Like, what? Like, is that too big of a jump? I'm like, should I go up to a year? Like,
yeah. So thank you for bringing this up. So for me, it was really uncomfortable to start charging $5,000 for my program. And I had a business coach who was like, Megan, just do it. I was like, that's asking a lot out of people. And she was like, well, you paid $5,000 for me. And I'm like, you're right. And I've worked with a lot of mentors before, but the minute that I had something on the line, again, like going back to what we were talking about, is I valued her as a coach so much more that I was willing to put more into it. I have a large network and I like to refer out. I don't refer to people who are only charging the cheap price. Does that make sense? Because I know that the value that I want to give my friends the most value and transformation possible. And if they're only going to pay, I don't want to put like numbers, whatever it means to you. I'm just throwing numbers out there. So I hope it doesn't trigger any of you guys. If they're paying a small amount, they're not going to take it as seriously. And they're not going to take you as seriously. And they're going to think that you're going to jump on for something. That's just me being transparent in my experience. But what I would do is charge a retainer for your phase 3 offering, where it's at least a few $1,000s, but you're putting everything into it. Again, some of this may or may not make sense for your business. I'm talking specifically to service providers or even the client or customer base. But for you, I would coach you to put together a killer $5,000 package where they're going to get massive testimonials. So going back to the testimonials before, I had very few, but once I had a phase 3 offering, every single client who became a phase 3 client had a massive transformation. It's no coincidence. Does that make sense?
My question is, how much percentage of the income is phase 3? Because I believe in dollars to the power.
Yeah.
Small little amounts, like real estate, small little units will still make more money than buying a gigantic.
Sure.
So how much percentage? So these who are doing those for sale $35 online class, you'll have 1,000 people around the whole globe on the internet who make as much money as 3 clients that you'll
Right.
find.
Which is why you want to have all 3. You don't want to just have one. For me, it's gone through phases. So for a lot of it, when I first started my business, my business was like phase 1 and 2. And then once I started getting into the phase 3, all of a sudden my workload lessened and I could put all of my attention into a handful of people. Now it's about, it varies, but it's usually about 30 to 50% of my total income is the phase 3.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
On the level 2 or phase 2, the paid challenges.
Yeah.
I totally get that in the health and wellness world,
Yeah.
but can you give an example like PR?
Yeah.
Or like a paid PR challenge?
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us a transformation that you provide. Just one aspect. I know you do a lot, but just one tangible transformation.
Okay. I'm working with a coach right now. She she's he's
So it could be a thought is you could do a 3-week, 4-week, even a 5-day challenge. This is how we're going to get you to 100 new leads. 10-day challenge, or maybe 10. I like 10-day challenge to 100 new 10-day challenge. Yeah, 10 days. I mean that doesn't add up, but you know what I mean. It's 10 days to get 100 new subscribers on your. That's like something tangible where they're getting results. Does that answer your question?
Oh, I see. It's not literally always a results and, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, so for phase 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could even have, if they're going to pay for it, I would put a little more into it than just like a 10-day. It could be a 30-day challenge, but you can say, this is the strategy I use for my clients. It's proven because you have testimonials. And this is how my clients have generated 100, 500 new leads, whatever that looks like for you. You can find the numbers. But they pay for it. So maybe they pay 100 to 200. I like 247. That's like a good number. Or 197. The set, if it ends in 7, just so you know, as like a sales tactic, the 7s make a big deal. You have, but I would say for a challenge, no more than 250. But you have, maybe a 30-day challenge. My top proven PR tactics to get 500 new subscribers to your emails.
I think in the case of the marketer, wouldn't it be as part education and part one-on-one client? Wouldn't the education part kind of separate the business in two? The education could be tripled. You can educate more people at once than working on one marketing budget. You can break up your business and boost one and keep the other ones.
Yeah. The cool thing is, and this is exactly what I'm saying, is I repurpose everything. So I've recorded challenges, and I recently did a 5-day challenge, and I recorded everything, and I uploaded it onto YouTube. I put it in a secret password protected page on my website, and then all of a sudden I have a $50 5-part mini course based on a free 5-day challenge. So don't be afraid to repurpose a lot of your stuff, and that's how you create passive streams, multiple streams of passive income. Okay, so for time, we're going to move on. Okay, so I have a couple of tips for you guys. The first is automation. Do you have your system set up so money is flowing into your bank account without you having to do any more work? Automation is key to passive income. How many of you have a sales funnel or automated system in your business? Okay, good. Awesome. We're going to change that to me. How much time do we have, by the way?
We're getting close. I think it is 6:20.
Okay, cool. So creating an automated sales funnel will bring cold traffic to warm leads to paying clients. So say, and this is just an example, you have a Facebook ad which leads to an opt-in for an email sequence, and then all of a sudden you're promoting a challenge and everything's automated. So you have all of your systems set up online. You did the work once, or maybe your virtual assistant or your assistant did it for you, and all of a sudden you have all of these new people coming to you. So the sequence is you have a freebie, you have your driver, which could be multiple things, but I just like to use like a Facebook ad, easy to digest. You have an opt-in page where people opt in for your service. You have your email system, and then you have your payment processor. So if you guys don't have these systems, I would write them down and go online and get into them now, because this is like the bread and butter of my business. So freebie, I designed in Canva. So it's canva.com. You can design hundreds and hundreds of different things, worksheets, templates, Facebook posts, ebooks. This slideshow was created in Canva. Opt-in page. So how many of you have an opt-in page? Okay, beautiful. And what server are you using for your opt-in page?
Well, I have my website on Thinkific.
which is also where my courses
Oh,
are.
I'm not familiar with that. You like it?
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
easy.
So these are just a few that I'll mention as ClickFunnels. I've used Lead Pages, your website. So I use Squarespace and Wix. And you can create an opt-in page easily through those two systems. Having an email system. So I use MailChimp, but some people use ConvertKit, Constant Contact, or Kajabi. And your payment processor, I absolutely love Moonclerk. The reason why I love Moonclerk is it can create recurring payments. A lot of my clients pay me a monthly payment. I don't have to think about them. I don't have to harass them. Where's the money? It just takes that whole thing out of the equation so I can focus on what I love to do. And it also so it integrates with Stripe, which is the actual payment processor. But the Moonclerk does all the work for you, so you can fill out forms, questionnaires, you can have monthly recurring payments, you can add discount codes. Moonclerk's amazing. The next.
Is PayPal still a thing to have because it's so secure?
A lot of people still use it. I personally don't because it doesn't work well with my business model, but a lot of people still use it. I like Moonclerk because I just send people links, click on my link, and then you can register. And for me, that takes the legwork. As opposed to sending an invoice, I'm not about sending invoices.
Protected and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Stripe is protected as well. So tip number 2 is build your team. How many of you have a team of people working for you? Yeah. How many of you would like to? It's really fun. So you can work for each other too. Sure. If you're a solopreneur who's doing I would say stop now and hire out immediately. So say, for example, you're a graphic designer charging $80 an hour. You train someone to do exactly what you do. And, you're maxed out on time. Like, as a personal trainer, I was maxed out on time. There were so many clients that I could work with before I hit an income cap. So with a graphic designer or personal trainer, say I hire someone to provide the same transformation as me, I'm charging $80 an hour and I'm paying them $40. What's the difference? $40 of passive income an hour. If you're not sure where to begin with building your team, I would say just start small. I love virtual assistants. You can find them anywhere. I have the best team. They're so amazing. And I wouldn't have, my business would not be where it was without them. They were aligned in mission. They were bought into my story. They willing to go to bat for me. That's my team. And I would say as you're building a team, it's your opportunity to stay within your zone of genius. I don't want to have to deal with accounting or, any building websites. I used to do all that stuff on my own, and I realized it was pulling me away from my vision. So you can go to internships.com, upwork.com, and freelancer.com. You can actually have interns for free if that's where you want to start as well. But if this is scary to you, start small. Start somewhere. Upwork?
Or the
Internships.
I love virtual ones. Oh, I'm not a virtual person. So I love virtual, not assistant, that's what you said. I'm sorry, I love
Virtual assistant.
Oh, virtual assistant. Yeah.
Is that amazing?
So it's like an assistant, but they're solely online.
Yeah, it was not a brand, that's just a subject. Is it a website? I think she
These are the websites where you can find virtual assistants.
I thought that was a brand.
Oh, maybe I should start a website and start my own virtual assistant. Thank you. I love that.
Can I add to that? I must say, when I was little, or younger, not little, I went to the bank, and this lady was rushing in Maria Del Rey, and she says, well, I don't believe it or not, I'm a yoga instructor. I says, okay. She says, you should do that because I'm Canadian. I had moved there. And she said, for tax purposes, you want to have an entrepreneur business, get a certificate, then you declare your car numbers. Obviously all your expenses, just so on top of all the assistance is your legal accountant banker to get all those money moved around in the proper direction. And
Yeah.
the banker could do that for free.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, like stay in your zone. Stay in your zone. Don't try to be a lawyer. Don't try to like do your own contracts and not like find people who have their own zone of genius and become resourceful, which I think is maybe the next one. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, tip number 3. So increase your price points. Are you getting paid your worth? Too many entrepreneurs are undercharging. They believe if they charge an affordable price, they will be able to help more people. But the reality is when they charge low prices, people plan undervalues. So just edifying what we just talked about. It takes the same amount of time to sign a client for $500 as it does to sign a client for $5,000. And that is very, very true for myself and everybody knows. So here's the thing. So if you're getting caught up in the money thing, which we all have our own money story, took me decades to even figure out what that was and how it was debilitating me. There is only one you. There is only one you that can provide that art. There is only one you who does PR. There is only one you who has your story. And people are going to get connected to you and they're going to pay whatever because they're so connected to what you do. So try not to get caught up into, well, this person's only paying this much, and why are people going to pay this much for me? Is really understand that there's only one you, and there is somebody who's desperately seeking the service that you provide. That's where you start, and then it becomes multiple people, and then hundreds, and then thousands, and then maybe millions. Who knows? Testimonials. Testimonials. How many of you have testimonials? If you don't, find them now. If you're not sure where to start, offer your service for free in exchange for a testimonial because it will pay you for the rest of your life. Set up boundaries. What are you willing to not sacrifice? What are your office hours? How many of you time block? Okay, so time block is you employing yourself. So I have a certain amount of day. I start my day with my morning mastery routine. I have client calls. Then I get into content creation, and I employ myself every single day. You can do it on Google Calendar, and it's really fun because you can color code what you're doing. But please, please, please time block, because sometimes you don't realize you're working and you're actually overworking. I'm guilty of doing that so many times. But when you have your task time block, I would say only do 3 things a day. We overwhelm ourselves with task lists that just make us go crazy. 3 big things a day, and then you chunk it down from there. Okay.
I'm gonna add something on class committee about how big things is the most productive.
Yeah. You're gonna be so more productive. When I look at my task list, I'm like, oh my God, I get so overwhelmed, and then I don't do the things that are moving the needle forward. So yeah.
And what was the right below on the last one? What are you not going to sacrifice for your business?
What are your office hours?
Oh, you didn't.
Your office hours.
I was in the way. I thought I was.
Can I head in the way?
Thank you.
How many hours per week? Rate yourself at the end of the day. Would you hire or fire yourself? Passive income. So we talked about that. You can go to the next slide. Okay. These are sources of passive income. Templates, books, downloads, evergreen masterclass, mini course, merchandise, membership, video tutorials, affiliate money, which is huge. Active, one-on-one or group class, live events, live class, masterminds. So I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. I know I'm moving kind of fast. So if you guys have questions after, please, I would love to support you in finding ways that you can create passive income. And these are all scenarios that I've worked with either myself or my clients. You sell 2 phase 3 offerings at $5K each. Simple math, $10,000. That make sense? Okay, good. All right, I'm making a smart bunch. Scenario, I should say scenario 2. But you have 3 one-on-one clients, monthly recurring payments of $1,800 times. Okay, typos, don't even look at that. $5,400. 3 clients at $1,800. You have your Moon Clerk set up, so you're not having to have them for money. It's automatically coming out of their bank account. You have a 4-week academy that you're going to do for your PR, and it's at $1,000. You sign 4 people up, that's $4,000. You have 12 people enrolled in your monthly membership program. So a membership program could be something as simple as having a Facebook group with your ideal clients. You charge a certain amount of money, $50 each month. They're getting value within the Facebook group. You do live classes. That's just another example. So do the math there. What does that equate to? 10,000. Yeah. And the last one. Who wants to make $20,000 more? Yeah. Yeah, girl. So you have a one-on-one coaching program at $10,000 paid in full, 2 one-on-one clients at monthly payments of $2,600, that's $5,200, 50 people enrolled in your membership program, $2,500, and you sold 100 ebooks at $50 each. So you do the math, that's over $20,000. Okay. So I want you to just take a moment here. I know we've gone through a lot of strategy and tech stuff, but if we're not ready to, if our mindset is not in the right place, if we're still having a lot of limiting beliefs, nothing's going to happen. If you've been wanting to work with a coach, if you've been wanting to join a course, but you still have that conversation, it doesn't matter how much content I give you, it's not going to move the needle. So I'd like you to take a moment here to close your eyes. Make yourself comfortable, uncross your legs, put your hands just relaxed. When you take a deep breath in, maybe in all of the abundance, and then when you breathe out, just let go, like physically let go of any limiting beliefs, conversations, resistance. So what I want you to do is imagine yourself a year from now as the person hitting all of your business goals, all of your desires. What would that look and feel like? So as that person, what would you do differently? What choices would you make? Would you stay comfortable? Or would you put yourself outside of your comfort zone? Who do you surround yourself around? Who influences you? And I really want you to receive it. Because you deserve it, all of you. You are way too valuable to be hiding in the corner. There are people out there who really need you. And this time you get to earn your worth. So take a deep breath in. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Any thoughts? You don't have to share. Okay. So I have just a few more things. I'm just wrapping it up the last few minutes. So I want you to decide, even if you don't know how to, it doesn't matter, what new income sources are you going to take on today? And if you're like, I don't know how to, I don't have a strategy, I'm not techie, I don't even know where to begin, it does not flipping matter. You think I had a strategy when I decided to start my first business? Do you think I had a strategy when I first made the decision to put on the Soul Success Summit? I had no strategy, but it started with certainty. And then everything falls into place. Okay. So you have a 65% chance of completing the goals you have if you commit to someone. And if you have a specific accountability appointment with a person, you will increase your chance by 95%. Too many people are running their business alone. They're getting burnt out. They're doing it all alone. They don't have anybody who's going to lock arms with them. So if you leave with anything, it's new paths, new sources of income, but also how are you going to hold yourself accountable and have someone who's going to lock arms with you? How many of you have an accountability partner or coach? Okay, cool. Okay, next one. Okay, so phones. Get out your phones. This is the nerdy side of me. So if you text KIC to 31996, you will get this entire presentation for download so you can have it on your computer, on your laptop. If it doesn't work, let me know. Sometimes when too many people are doing it at once, it rejects it. You'll get a link. Did you get it?
I said, thank you.
No problem. And I also have a special bonus for you guys. Go to the next one, please. Okay, so if you feel called to learn more and receive my coaching and work with some of my business partners, I'm launching a mastermind in June. We already have several people enrolled, so it's going to fill up. It begins June 2020. It's 6 months of bi-monthly mastermind calls. We have our team of experts who are online strategists, tech nerds. We might have I think we have a lawyer. They're all different zones of genius. So it's 6 months of bi-monthly and then 6 months of monthly group calls. So it's supporting you for the next year. We have weekly group trainings, live video classes. It includes a ticket to the Soul Success Summit, which is going to be here next year, and I'm so flipping excited. We already have people buying tickets. It's crazy. I don't even know where it's going to be yet. So, accountability partner. You have a private Facebook group with mentorship and group coaching. 2 personal business strategy sessions with me to map out each quarter for the next year. Mentorship with guest mentors. And one of them is my favorite, Susie Carter, who is a profit coach. And she's worked with, you guys know Lisa Nichols, John Asseroff, Steve Harvey. She's worked with all of these big brands and helped them take their craft and build it into multi-million-dollar businesses. Lisa Nichols is one of the leading inspirational coaches in the world. So that is for you. So I have a bonus if you feel called to join the mastermind. We'll go to the next slide. The value is over $18,000 in everything that I'm providing. I've never provided this much value at this low price, but I want it to be a no-brainer if you feel called to do it, if you feel aligned with my coaching. And you get $1,000 off for being here. For making the effort to be here in person, not just online, but in person. I know it takes a lot to be here. You have families, you have businesses, you have schedules. So we have a monthly payment plan. So it's with the discount, it's just $7.97 a month, or you can pay in full and save. So that is my offer to you. I think we have one more slide. So these are some testimonials. So testimonials are so powerful, like I mentioned, because they give people who haven't worked with you proof that you can provide tangible results. So these are some of them. These are some of my local clients that I've worked with. Carrie Grossman, she came to me a year ago and she wasn't making any money in her business, but she had such a big mission and big story to tell. And she asked for my help, and we worked together. We created a strategy. We took all of her gifts, and we turned it into both passive and active income, multiple streams. And she hit her first $10,000 month, I believe, 6 months ago, and just recently hit a $25,000 month in a year. I'm not saying that's guaranteed. There are exceptions, but just to get your brain wrapped around the idea, when you're so aligned with mission and you have a strategy behind it, the impact that you can make is profound and bigger than you might know. It blew her mind. I had no idea. Another one, Jennifer Ludington, came to me with no online business at all. She was in a transition phase, and we worked together, and we took her fitness business completely online. She does challenges. She has one-on-one coaching. She has group coaching. She has multiple streams of both passive and active income. And she, the first scenario, she did. She hit her first $10,000 a week by creating the phase 1 offering, and her testimonials, the people she's impacting is profound. And then next slide, I think and these are just a couple of other people who I've worked with and given them results. So,
How much you should make you before the 10,000 a week? Before you
who?
it's 10,000 a week? The trainer?
Zero.
Wow. That's good. That's really good. You say 10,000 a week? That's $40,000.
Okay, to clarify, because she had her first $10,000 week. She doesn't make $40,000 a month, but she hit her first $10,000 week, and then it's rippled into other areas. But I don't want to make false statements.
I have a question about those calls during the month. Do you know by experience, are they weekdays, weekends, daytime, afternoons, evenings?
So a big thing that I do, I didn't talk about, is questionnaires and polling with your clients and your audience. So we're going, because I understand that everybody has a different schedule, we're going to make it so that everybody can hop on, and even if we have to maybe break it up into like a couple of different calls, and they will also be recorded. So if you have an appointment or something comes up that week, I know sometimes I have to miss my own mastermind calls with my other group that I'm an attendee in. And since everything's recorded and because I have the support of the group in the Facebook, I never feel like I miss out, even if I miss a call, because the content is so repurposed and out there, and I have my intimate community who's holding for me every single day.
The goal is to renew your commitment to yourself every day.
Yeah, and I have 2 accountability partners in that group. One lives in Canada and one lives in Denver. I finally met them in New York a month ago, and we've been talking every single week, and they've been coaching me and I've been coaching them. So it's been a really beautiful experience to have that entrepreneurs who I'd never otherwise meet, but to have them have their hands in my business. Do you guys have any questions? I know that was a ton of information, and so I'm sure your brain is probably spinning a little bit if this is all new to you. But I would say just take it. First slide. Is that it? Okay. Take it step by step. Start small. Start small. One area of passive income. One step. Maybe it's getting an accountability partner and saying, hey, I want to create this. Will you help me create this? Maybe you want to take it to the next level, join a program, whatever that looks like. Set an intention, commit to something, and hold yourself accountable. So I want to thank you so much for having me. I know I talked a lot, and I hope I made an impact. And I just want to thank you two for this beautiful space. I love what you're doing, and you're creating opportunities for entrepreneurs to think big and to live outside of the box and design the business of their dreams. And it's totally possible. And so thank you for having this beautiful space and for having me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So if you guys want, this is a form to join the mastermind. So I pass it around. If you want to just look at it. Or if you have a friend who might be interested. Yes, he's great. Yeah, they're like, no, I'll actually, if you are, you just want
that's where I like.